All right, so we're going to be getting into our next review, and that's going to be for Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is the very first Indiana Jones movie, starring Harrison Ford as the titular character, directed by Steven Spielberg, the legendary classic iconic film, which spawned four other sequels here, Temple of Doom. You also had Last Crusade and the newest one, Dial of Destiny. And none of you guys have seen Dial of Destiny, but you've seen all the other Indiana Jones movies, right? Temple of Doom and also Last Crusade.
Yes.
And for me, I would say that The Last Crusade is probably my favorite Indiana Jones movie. That's right top of me. I think that just the combination of Sean Connery, Harrison Ford, I think works perfectly. It just is just right on the money there. I think it just combines all those great elements. And I would say generally, I think it's considered the worst is probably Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Generally considered the worst Indiana Jones movie for a lot of people. I know that this newest one's getting a lot of mixed reaction, Dial of Destiny, but I think generally Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the worst one. And then why do you guys think that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is considered the worst Indiana Jones movie?
I think it's mostly the CG, because Indiana Jones usually had great practical effects and stunts, but it's like the Kingdom of the Skull, they just were more focused on CG. And I don't know, maybe it's just because it doesn't have the same magic as the first three do.
I agree with it. And I would also say it just gets a little too outlandish for me, because throughout all these movies we see Indy go through some crazy obstacles, but when you open the movie with him nuking the fridge, that's only the first 20 minutes you're like, oh, okay.
I forgot about that part.
Oh, okay, I see what we're doing. And then at the aliens, you're just kind of like, when the big spaceship takes off, you're like, oh wow, you really swung for the fences. Not to say like, because all those movies have like supernatural tones and elements to them. Especially near the third act, there's some big MacGuffin that does some magical mystery shit. But when it comes to surviving nuclear bombs and Shia LaBeouf monkeys and sword fighting, it was just overwhelming.
Brandon, what about you?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is weird. I think that's that's what like gets me about it. Like I can't take it as seriously as like the other ones. And
absolutely,
I feel I don't want to blame George Lucas, but I want to blame George Lucas. Because I saw like this clip recently where Spielberg is talking about like how he did not want to put like aliens in Indiana Jones, and Lucas is like, "Wait, they're not aliens; they're extra dimensional beings that just look like aliens." I was like, "No."
Oh yeah, they didn't say aliens, right? They said extra dimensional beings.
Yeah, but they look a lot like.
They look like aliens to me, but
aliens, like, I want to assume my gender. There's like dimensional beings.
There's like stuff I want to like in it. Like I like the chase and like little fight scene like towards the beginning with like the greasers and Indiana Jones and stuff like that. Like that stuff is kind of fun, but like I guess once the adventure gets going, it's like I'm not into this.
I like the Kate Blanchett though.
Yeah, she's a good villain.
Yeah.
She's always a good villain, I feel.
Yeah, she don't miss.
Yeah. Kate Blanchett was, I mean, she was a fine ass Nazi. I mean, I gotta say it. I hate to say it, she was.
I don't condone, but I understand.
She was a fine Nazi here. The Bob really worked for her.
Yeah, I was digging the whole Russian accent, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Was she supposed to be Russian?
Yeah, it was the Russians that
it was during the 50s. So
right, she was Russian. You're right. She wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
Post-Nazi.
Yeah. So yes. So you have Raiders of the Lost Ark here, who I said this is the first Indiana Jones film that kicked off, this much big iconic character played by Harrison Ford, who's still playing it up until now. He's 80 years old. And this is where a lot of people fell in love with the character. A lot of the things that people remember that were made famous from the Indiana Jones franchise, a lot came from here. The whole on the map, and then the whole like the red dots, everything like that, where they're taking traveling. But you have this archaeologist, this professor in Indiana Jones, who's all about, finding these artifacts, bringing them back, putting them in the museum. And a lot of it comes into conflict with the Nazis, because it's all about, in this one, the race to find the Ark of the Covenant. And, a lot of the stuff with, because usually when you have like a, movie about adventure or artifacts, something like that, Nazis are sometimes always involved in there sometimes, because it is based on history, because that's what a lot of the Nazis did. They would grab a lot of these things. They would, grab a lot of artifacts. I think Hitler himself was very much into a lot of there's a lot of occult stuff going on, where believed in magic, believed in a lot of supernatural things. Some of the Nazis did. So there was a lot of that they kind of believed in, which was the reason why they collected a lot of artifacts. So I'm kind of going to go around, get you guys' thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Raiders, and discuss maybe some of your favorite moments from the film. Also, maybe if this is your favorite Indiana Jones film. But this is second for me. I would say Raiders is, and just I think Harrison Ford, obviously you can't really see anyone else playing this character. I mean, he just fits the character so incredibly well, especially after playing Han Solo in Star Wars, and he did he had it was great things going for him, because he had two big franchises, Indiana Jones and Star Wars.
So it was like him really back to back.
Oh yeah, it was back
every year.
Yeah, so it's like he was a huge megastar there of kind of playing those things. And to kind of round out the cast, you also have Karen Allen, who played Marianne, who's in this,
great one.
who's this big love interest in this. You also have John Rhys Davies, who's in this as well, who's one of his partners here, who when he goes to Egypt helps him with a lot of the artifact finding, a lot of the research there. You also have like at the very beginning of the movie, a very, very young Alfred Molina, who's in the beginning, Doc Ock himself.
Oh, that's right, of course, yeah.
Adios, amigo.
So
rubbing his
Brandon,
fingers.
what's some of your thoughts on Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark? So
yeah, this one is definitely my favorite. I think it's the one I've seen the most as well. This is great. I'm gonna try to pick some moments that aren't like usually the most talked about. So I think one of my favorite moments is towards the middle of the movie, where Marion is captured, and she starts tricking Belloc to in his drinking game, and they just keep going back and forth, and it seems like he's almost having a really good time with her. He forgot about the archaeological dig site and everything, and it just shows I think that's why she's Indiana Jones's love interest. She is the one, because she's as cunning and smart and just as fun. Honestly, I think I would love watching her more than any of his other love interest. But yeah, I just love that scene with her, and then the bad Nazi guy comes in and is what the hell are you doing? And then my other favorite scene is the damn monkey, the monkey who is a Nazi. He does the Nazi salute and everything. the little monkey, and that's just some of the fun stuff I love in Indiana Jones, where it can be super serious, they're trying to find the Ark of the Covenant, but then also you have this Nazi spy that's also happens to be a monkey. And I love that whole scene with the monkey basically hanging out with them, and then gets poisoned, and then oh shit, you're about to die. So yeah, I really love Marion in this. Her introduction is great, with the drinking again, and of course just whenever her and Indy are on screen together, just it's fun. It's watching your cool uncle and aunt do some stuff, do something. And it's super fun movie. Definitely my favorite Indy.
Nice. And you mentioned Marion, who does come back. She does make appearances in the series, like in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where she comes back. She shows up with Shia LaBeouf, who is the son of Indiana Jones, Mutt, who's in there.
Mutt.
Remember when Shia LaBeouf? I mean, he was hot.
He was
remember
the
that?
one.
Like
he was
gonna be the biggest star ever.
Man, speaking of Transformers, man, that was
I think that's why they casted him. They were like, "Oh, he's gonna be the next big thing. We got to get him in Indiana Jones."
Because it was like Transformers, Eagle Eye, Disturbia, Indiana Jones, for like the whole summer. I think they all came out in between like a year of each other. It's like Shia was unstoppable, and then
then Transformers 2 after that.
That car came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
I just love Transformers 3. He was trying to prove himself. He's like, I can beat somebody. I'm like,
well, he shouldn't have slammed Crystal Skull. That's what got him. He was like, hey, man, Spielberg and George Lucas, man, they fucked up.
Oh, no, you don't say that out loud.
Well, he was the golden child. He was like Steven Spielberg's go-to guy, because he was with him on Transformers. He was the lead there. Like Eagle Eye was also like, I think, a Steven Spielberg. Wasn't that Steven Spielberg production? Yeah. And then he brought him on for Indiana Jones, and it was like, hey, maybe you're gonna take over, maybe not, maybe you will, but hell no.
Well, they took on Jesus at the end of Crystal Skull, but Harrison Ford's like, nope, give me that hat.
Give me that hat.
Immediately takes it back.
Damn it.
No, there's no way he's gonna give that up. So, she's kind of made appearances back in the series again. Definitely, that's kind of one of the reasons I dislike Temple of Doom, because the love interest there is just completely off the cliff. I mean,
she's the opposite.
She's the worst.
She is annoying. But she's Steven Spielberg's wife, so
I'm sure she's a nice lady.
Yeah, that was his wife at the time. Yeah, Steven Spielberg. That was his wife at the time. Put her in there. Completely shrill and unlikable and
just a
damsel in distress.
Yeah,
but at least she wasn't a Nazi like the Last Crusade woman was.
Oh yeah,
sure. Yeah.
And she banged his dad.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going? Never mind. We'll talk about this later.
Sean Connery, so couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Sean Connery. It's James Bond. She couldn't resist.
But you had kind of the great love interest here that I think a lot of people mark on with the series, which is one of the reasons that she's been brought back different times throughout the movie series. Jamarco, what are your thoughts on Raiders?
Well, I mean, what can I say that has been said for decades and decades? I think personally, it's like Spielberg arguably has like 5 perfect movies, and this is one of them. And just the way that it moves, it just moves at a solid pace. You get to know these characters, you get to live in this world, and you get to spend time with a hero who is human, with human fears and human doubts. And one of the best lines in the whole movie is when they ask him, like, how are you gonna do? He's like, I don't know, I'm making it up as I go. Like, that's what you love about Indiana Jones. That's what makes him so relatable, what makes him one of the great pop culture icons. Like, one of my favorite small scenes is when he's fighting a big Nazi by the plane, and the Nazi's gearing up, and he's just like, all right, give me a minute. Yeah, just that whole build up when you see the explosion about to happen and the plane is turning. Like, Spielberg is just a master of putting together action scenes that the audience sees that the character doesn't know about, and leading straight into the truck chase where he's going under the truck and in the back. You just like, I'm a big nerd for shots and framing, and some shots in there are just like classic Spielberg, like when he's on top of the cliff with the bazooka. It's like one of my favorite shots in any movie ever. And just how like it scared me as a kid. Like, every Indiana Jones movie like just gets scary for some reason at the end.
Yeah, there's always some horror element to it.
Yeah, they're melting
I
the
love that.
Nazis' faces off. It's like, don't look, Marion. Like
The angel that turns into like almost like a ghost or something.
yeah.
It's like, oh.
Oh shit. I thought we were watching a fun action flick. What are you doing? And just like I said, like John Williams music, just I mean, John Williams, enough said. The Raiders theme. You're probably singing it in your head right now. But I always love the Marion theme whenever she floats in, just like I just it's very wistful, and like every little frame of this movie, every little part of this film is like pitch perfect to me. And like recently I've been like on a kick of watching older movies because we say shit is like the greatest of all time. We movie nerds are hyperbolic, so I've been watching a lot of old movies like 2001, Singing in the Rain, and this, just see if they hold up. And this for sure certainly holds up. So I have nothing negative to say about Raiders.
Yeah, beautiful soundtrack. Like he's mentioned, John Williams, who did the score for this, legendary soundtrack as well, which aided to probably the why this movie was so successful. The music of it is iconic. Everybody probably knows the Indiana Jones theme. You also have, like you mentioned, the Everyman that Harrison Ford was as Indiana Jones, a character based off of what Steven Spielberg did was based off a character from the 20s, 30s. A lot of those serials that you had back then, based off that kind of character. And the thing about Indiana Jones is he's a gigantic nerd. I mean, he's very big into archaeology, studying of history, knowing of history, things like that. So he's this guy. He's very proficient in this, and just a kind of a giant nerd there. And that was kind of great to see that you had a character that was very much different. He exudes masculinity and machiness, not in a way that it's different from in a way at the time of like a Schwarzenegger or Stallone, where it was so very outwardly probably violent in a way. Here, I mean, he does, when it's time, it's time, and when he'll fight, he'll fight. When he'll kill somebody, he'll kill somebody. There's always that iconic scene of the dude comes out with the sword and does all the tricks and does all those fancy moves. You know what I mean? And just kind of just shoots him there. But but he uses more his wit and his cunning, and that kind of is what gets him over there. As he mentioned, the fight with the big giant, the what do you call those? Don't they call those people like what, Ubermensch? Oh no, that's a woman, right? Like what's the male version of that?
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
Big Nazi motherfucker.
Yeah, German listeners want to give us translation, please.
So what you gonna say? What you say, Jeremy?
I was gonna say the word thug, but that might not be a good term to use.
Brute.
Brute. Yeah. So you kind of had that, and then he kind of he's losing that fight, and just ends up ducking, and then the guy just gets split in half there. He uses a lot of his cunning there, and you see that even without trying, he has this kind of natural draw. Like I love that scene in the beginning of the movie where he's teaching the class, and then there's the one girl who's in front of like all the women in the class. They're all the women enamored with him, and then there's the one who closes her eyes, and she's got the "I love you" on it on her eyelids. Which is, how the fuck did you even do that?
How'd you do that?
Right?
Did you get a friend to do that? Or
that had to
anything for Professor Jones.
But Jeremy, what are your thoughts on Raiders?
What else can I say? To me, it's an purest example of an action adventure film where like you have this. You go to exotic locations. You meet someone. You have a love interest. You go on along with. You have the purest example of villains, which are Nazis. And I just love the buildup of it because like it's building up to like the Ark of the Covenant. They kept talking about like at the college, like, oh, if Hitler gets his hand on this, it could be the end of the world. And like you wonder like what can this object do? So I just love the build-up of it, like the mystery of it, and towards the end it kind of shows like, oh, this is what it does. It's not pretty at all. So it's just so many things to say about this movie. Just like I love the cinematography, the music. I think Harrison Ford is a perfect example of a hero, like an old school action hero. Because like you said, Arnold Schwarzenegger or
Stallone.
I can't think Stallone. Like you can tell they can whoop somebody. So Harrison Ford, he uses his wit. He's kind of like how James Bond uses his wit to defeat enemies he can't defeat. So like for instance, like the guy with the sword, he just shoots him, or he ducks all the way to the plane, let the plane take care of the brute guy. But yeah, I think it's one of Spielberg's best movies. I think it's one of his best movies, and I want to say it is my favorite of the Indiana Jones movies. I think that one, and then Last Crusade, and
agree.
Temple of Doom, then Crystal Skull. We'll see how.
Yeah, it might be my ranking too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, everything like you said. Yeah.
And it's so rewatchable.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is rewatchable. So many iconic moments in it too. And then originally Tom Selleck, you mentioned Harrison Ford. I mean, Tom Selleck was originally going to be Harrison Ford. It was one of those situations.
Wow.
And then Tom Selleck had to do Magnum PI, which probably he's like, man, fuck. He's probably like, Jesus.
He saw the box office like, shit. I gotta put on that one shirt again. All right.
And then the year that this came out.
My favorite scene. Sorry, I hate to cut you off.
Oh,
but my favorite scene is the one with the snakes.
Yeah.
Where he was like freaking out about the snakes, and he's like, "Oh, snakes!" I just find it funny, like a guy who's like be able to fight people off, but what his biggest enemy is snakes. And that one shot in the her name Karen Allen. That's her name, right?
Yes.
The actress.
Marion. When she's in the I think it's a pit or something, but like the one shot where the snakes come out of that skull. That thing freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah, that's scary. I was like, all right, Indy, I get it.
But I was gonna say, so this movie came out in 1981, so it was the highest grossing movie of the year, and they kept it in theaters. And you know how much money it made for it to be the highest grossing movie of the year in 1981? $354 million.
Wow.
So
that's like $1 billion today.
I think Fast X had a budget of $354 million, and Fast 10 did. That was just the budget on it. So yeah, very, very stark difference there in 1981. And this played in theaters for all the way of a year. That just kept playing in theaters. I mean, it was a huge smash hit from the get-go. So it wasn't a thing like you had like with Blade Runner, where people didn't like it at first, and then over time people have grown to appreciate it as a classic. It was automatically
they wasn't ready.
They made praised for it. So yeah.
Did that come out the same year as Indiana Jones?
No, it came out the next year, 82.
Next year, okay.
Came out the same day as The Thing. That's all right. Yeah. Which also flopped.
Wow.
So yeah. I guess I'm gonna go and then let you guys talk about it a little bit more, and then give you final thoughts and a rating for Indiana Jones and the Raiders Lost Ark. But yeah, I love this. I'd say it's my second favorite one. I would say it's kind of a little bit of a bumpy road for me with Indiana Jones movies, because really love Raiders. Temple of Doom, I'm kind of meh on. Then there's Last Crusade, which I really love a lot. Then there's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is kind of meh. So it's kind of like almost like the Daniel Craig Bond movie sometimes, where it's like started off Casino Royale, then it was like he did Quantum of Solace, which was a huge fall off. Then he did Skyfall, and then it was like, okay, back again. Then after Skyfall, Spectre,
and then No Time to Die.
No Time to Die. So then it was like kind of going up and down, up and down. So it's kind of like what Indiana Jones was like: Raiders, then Temple of Doom, then Last Crusade, then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So yeah, but I don't think Dial of Destiny is that big up much of like on the level of like
right here. It's a little,
yeah, it's kind of just that little kind of squiggly line there going on.
Just a little stationary.
Gotcha.
You do have an actor in Harrison Ford who's 80 years old now. I mean, he's 80, and I don't know how much I want to see 80-year-old Indiana Jones. One like old man. And I mean, shout out to him. I mean, Harrison Ford's still doing his thing, and he's got his shirt off in one scene, and it's probably, like I said in the review, it's like this is probably the best any 80-year-old man could ever look shirtless.
Yeah.
You know, so great for him. And he did get hurt a lot on set. Like he had a lot of on-set injuries too, doing some of the stuff there.
Yeah.
But shout out to him there. So obviously, I mean, if you haven't seen Indiana Jones, what are you doing? I mean, this is,
come on.
I think,
Dude.
much watched film.
For
It's
real?
in the National Library of Congress when it comes to the film. So yeah, I mean, top to bottom, like I say, you got great villains in this. You know, asshole villains too. Of course, Nazis is always going to be. And then he had like his one rival in it, the actor Paul Freeman, who was Renee in it, who's like he's bitch ass Indiana Jones. Like you have
basically
there, and he's the total kind of bitch version of that basically. So I kind of like that kind of different dynamic there. You have of these two archaeologists who are kind of going at it. One's working for the Nazis, one's working for the betterment of museums and betterment for culture and history and everything like that. Even though, I mean, museums, I guess, I mean, you could say, I mean, all that shit's stolen. I mean, I guess you could say you steal it back. I mean, all that shit's
shout out to
stolen.
Killmonger.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to go around. You guys give your final thoughts and ratings on it. Brandon, what are some of your final thoughts and ratings on Raiders?
Yeah. Just to go off what you were saying, I love the villains, but especially like the anti-Indiana Jones and Paul Freeman's was his character Bellick, right? Or Bollock, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, I love that he's like he doesn't want to kill Indy, he tries to like kind of reason with him and Marion, but like it's like the Nazis who are like just on his head, like especially they get more like just tired of him like later on. They're like, you either gotta like keep working with us or like you're dead too. And I love just going back to Marion's introduction scene in her bar, like when Indy tries to come and like tell her like, do you have like the thing? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And then like right as he leaves, like the Nazi bad guy comes in and like it's like that whole like fight scene and like the fire starts. And it's just something, maybe it's like a product of his time as well, like where like villains had to have like kind of a signature look to them. So like I love that the villain has like these weird glasses, he's always wearing a hat, but I love when he touches like the thing and like it burns his hand and like it's like the imprint is like on the hand, and like I just thought that was like so cool and so gross. And I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, no, I love this movie. I could watch it anytime. It's one of those, like, even if it's on TV and it's like in the middle of it, I will sit down and just like watch like the rest of it. But yeah, I would say this is without a doubt like cinema. This is cinema. And one more favorite scene is when the opening, when he's running to the plane and like they take off, and then for some reason his pilot has like a fucking pet snake.
I
hate what the hell?
Ducks. I hate them.
And it's perfect. Like you get everything you need to know about this character, like in that opening. And I love that, like as soon as you see that like first like side adventure, basically, you see him like in a school teaching, and it's like, wait, what? So yeah, I love the character. I love this movie. Cinema.
Jamarco.
Yeah, it was okay. This is cinema, guys. Come on. It's cinema. Everything everyone has said here tonight still holds up. It is the blueprint to every action adventure film set in an exotic location you see today. Like I was just talking to my friends. There's a scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack Sparrow's run away from some natives. Indiana Jones.
Yes.
What is the Mummy? Indiana Jones. Like, come on, everything.
Don't forget Tomb Raider, Uncharted. We don't get those without Indiana Jones.
National Treasure.
Come on, go off, everybody.
His grandpa's Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Everything we know and love in pop culture: swashbuckling, treasure hunting, fighting creepy things, getting a girl, beating up the bad guy. It all starts here, and it is regarded. It is in the Library of Congress for a reason. Harrison Ford is still the GOAT, and Spielberg just knows how to make a crowd pleaser. If you haven't seen them, first of all, why? They're on Disney Plus. They're everywhere. Please watch them. Enjoy them. Bring the whole family with you. Raiders is, without a question, cinema 100%.
Jeremy?
What more can be said? Cinema. It's cinema. Like, it's one of those few movies I can say it's pretty much perfect. Like the actors are perfect, the cinematography is perfect, the music's perfect. Like Jamarcus, right?
Yes,
like
Jamarco.
Jamarco?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like you said before, like all these action adventure movies, especially when they are hunting for treasure, like National Treasure, Pirates of the Caribbean, Uncharted, they all try to copy off of Indiana Jones. Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark. They all try to copy off Raiders of the Lost Ark, but they still don't. They still can't grab
the vibe.
This movie had, the vibe that this movie had. Even like the later Indiana Jones movies, they still don't have like the same type of feel that this movie has. So it's one of the greatest examples, in my opinion. If I'm sure they probably put this out in film school, like an action adventure movie, this is the one to choose. So
exactly.
It's a great film. It's rewatchable. I like what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Jamarco.
You.
Oh,
Brandon. Yeah.
Brandon. I'm sorry. Like Brandon
said,
right. If I catch this on TV, I'll sit down and watch it. I don't care what I'm doing. If I'm doing chores and you have to go to work, I'll just call and say, "Hey, Raiders of the Lost Ark is on. I'm gonna watch it." It's to me, it's one of Steven Spielberg's best movies. This is like his heyday, and this is one of his best movies.
100%. This was right after Jaws, right? No, he did Close Encounters.
He did Close Encounters. He did Jaws, Close Encounters, and I think he did this.
Yeah, because Jaws was 79 and
75.
It was 75.
75.
Okay. That's the first one.
Close Encounters was 77, I think. It came right after Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
I think. Yeah, this came out because this was 81.
81.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's like perfect mashup of the biggest directors, in my opinion, of the 80s, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. And it's like a great combination of them together.
Yeah. So how old was Spielberg when he did Indy, the first one, 81? Because he was only how old was he when he made Jaws? 23?
He was very young when he made Jaws. I want to say early 20s.
Yeah, when he made Jaws.
That
I think that was his first theatrical movie, I think. Or maybe one of the first ones. I can't remember.
Because he was doing TV for a minute.
Yeah, so I can't. Yeah, so he was still probably in his late 20s, early 30s when he made the first Indy, probably.
Yeah.
He was 29 when Jaws came out.
Oh, okay. He's 29. Jaws came out 29. Okay, so yeah. Legend. Yeah, like I said, Jeremy said, this is cinema. Like everybody said, this is cinema.
The
This is the reason why it's in the Library of Congress. Legendary classic movie. All the, like Jamarco mentioned, all the action adventure movies that you know, the origin point is probably Indiana Jones. That's the origin point. Of it. The only one I think that's ever come close to it is The Mummy. That's the only one I think that's ever come close to the
first two.
I can't go with you on maybe number two, but
I
number
like
one.
Returns. Returns is incredible.
So, I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
You never seen The Mummy?
Those movies. Those were my Raiders.
Damn, what you doing, Jeremy? You never seen The Mummy?
You gotta watch The Mummy, man.
For me, it seemed like they're just copying off Indiana Jones. I'm just like,
okay, hang on, Jeremy. I'm gonna tell you on The Mummy real quick, son. No, but it's like, it's Indiana Jones, but come on, it's sexier. It's Rachel Weisz, son. You know what I'm saying?
A lot more horror elements as well.
Yeah, it's very spooky because Universal is trying to reboot their dark universe.
I'm not gonna watch that Tom Cruise one.
No. Just watch those first two. Watch first two Brendan Fraser movies. Skip Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. You're good.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe. I've always wanted to do a retro review of The Mummy. I gotta do a retro review of The Mummy.
Please call me.
I'm there for that. Yeah.
I'll watch it the first time, get my first impressions.
Oh yeah,
that'd be fun.
I would love that. But so this is cinema. I would say
Mm.
Raiders. Amazing film, amazing lead, and Harrison Ford, amazing soundtrack that's still iconic today. It's everything you want in an action adventure movie. It's got the great love interest, it's got the great action moments in it, it's got the great adventure moments in it. The race to get this the MacGuffin, this object. Who's going to get it first? The back and forth. That's always really great to see. And yeah, and as far as getting that charm, it's tough. Sometimes to recapture that, and I think they only did it really again with Last Crusade for me. It's the only time they really did it again there. So yeah, I mean, all this is cinemas for Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah. All right.